Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today is week 2 of my Bokashi being added to my worm bin. So it's been 2 weeks now. I have had the heat rise a little bit more, and I did add some bedding and kind of mix it up a little bit in my large VermiBag. The bucket system I really haven't touched though, other than adding coffee grounds to the top, and at one point I thought it had a little bit too much moisture and took the lid off. But other than that, I haven't really touched it. So I do want to talk about though this heat issue that I'm having. So the smell sort of went away, but I took off the bag that was on top of the bin. I added more cardboard. You know, I've done a lot of stuff like that, but it's just, it still has a slight odor to it, and it's still warmer than the rest of my basement. So the rest of my basement's like, you know, in the, let's say, high 60s, 68 degrees or so, and this bin is still at like 74 on top. And I'm still getting a lot of fruit flies in it, it looks like. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get rid of them. I think I might have to add more bedding to the top of it and see if I can just make it where it's so deep they cannot get into the food section of it, or they can't get out if they do get down there. So we're going to have to take a look at that and also see what's going on. So let's go and take a look. All right, here is our bucket system. And the first thing we're going to do here is check the temperature. And it is holding at 68 degrees. The temperature of the wood behind it is 69, 70 degrees. So actually it's a little cooler. So I'm guessing the water in there is kind of venting out and maybe helping to cool it down. The other bedding material, still 68 degrees, 69 maybe. So this overall isn't that warm. So let's dig down in there and take a look and see how it's doing. Just get a glove on here. And let's just take a look here. So this is some of the coffee grounds I added to the top. Remember, I added some more worm bedding and stuff like that. I'm not seeing any worms in here so far. Let's just dig down a little bit more. Feels kind of moist in here. This is some of the pellets that I've added, those wood pellets on top. That was to try to keep the smell out and also keep out the bugs. Let's just dig down in here. Beginning to see some stuff. Looks like this is a piece of a banana peel or something. I do see one worm on here. Right there. There is a worm. Let's just dig down in here a little bit more. All right, this is our lobster shell in here, which is actually packed full of stuff, it looks like. Not seeing anything really climbing on this, though. Although, I don't know what's attached to it, but it looks like a piece of fruit or something that is stuck to it. But nothing on there. Let's just dig down a little bit more. Not seeing many worms in here. There's one. I don't know if that's a healthy worm or not. Not moving much. So I don't know how they're doing in here. Another worm. This one moving a little bit. Try to put this over here. I'm seeing some more worms down here. So still not very active though. I don't know if they're going to have to adjust to these conditions or what, but that one, there's one right there and there's one right over here. So just trying to be kind of slow with this. Another piece of shell, it feels like. Some more worms in here. Oops. Where'd he go? Here's another one. Again, it's not moving very much. I mean, they seem kind of slow. I don't know if something in here is hurting them from the Bokashi or from something else. I mean, it feels moist, so it feels like the moisture level's right. Let's just dig down on this side a little bit. And this doesn't smell bad, I have to say. This one doesn't have that odor. Most of the food looks like, except for these shells, looks like most of the food in here is gone. I'm not fine. I mean, I added a bunch of food in here. Oh, here we go. Here's a piece of food. This one has some worms on it. Look a little bit more active. I don't know what kind of food this is. Maybe a banana peel or something. That's what it looks like from this side. It looks like it's a banana peel. Let's throw that on top here and just dig down a little bit more. Oh, here we go. I think we're getting to the food now on the bottom. Maybe it's made its way all the way to the bottom down here. So here we go. All right, this doesn't smell great. It smells okay, but it's not great. Actually, it's smelling even worse as I sit here with it. So looks like the food is compacted here in the bottom. I'm not finding many worms down here though. So this is, I think this, I'm going to call it, this Bokashi system I think is, for this type of purpose, it might be a failure. Especially with the odor that this is causing. I'm not seeing any worms. I mean, there's no worms on this at all. So, you know, I'd hope to find some down here. I was hoping, it doesn't feel warm. Let me check temperature. Maybe there's a temperature difference on here. It is 75 degrees down here, so it's a little bit warmer. But overall, it does have an odor to it. It doesn't smell great. You know, I'm going to bury this back in here again. Make sure I put that well underneath here. Let's just take a look at this side. So overall, I'm not impressed with Bokashi in a worm bin. I think this would be much better served going out into the yard. This side has there's a couple worms. There's a big worm right there at least. So as you can see, there's a big worm over there, but there's not a lot. I mean, like, and this looks like, I mean, this looks like this is hardly touched at all. I mean, this is a nice piece of, this is a piece of kiwi skin. I mean, I would expect the worms to be working at this stuff a little bit more than they are, and I put in a lot of worms in here, so for them to all be gone, here we go. There's some worms in this pile here. Just let go of that. So there we go. There's some worms in there, and they look a little bit healthier and they're a little bit more active. Overall, I'm still not impressed with this though. For a system that I was hoping would be able to really kind of get rid of the waste that I had in that bucket pretty quickly. This did not work very well, or as well as I'd hoped. Gotta make sure I bury all this stuff in here. Last thing I want is to get fruit flies in here too. So we're going to cover that back up. Let's lift up this bucket like I did last time, just to take a look and see how it is underneath. Oh, again, tons of worms on the bottom there underneath this. So hopefully, as maybe this churns a little bit more, maybe they'll work their way up through that bucket. I have been putting water in this bucket to keep it moist, and I've been like just letting it slowly drip down, which is my whole goal, and I figure that's also watering down the any acidity that might be from the Bokashi. So actually I'm going to add a little bit more water right now. Let me just get my pump, spray, just a little bit on top here, just to moisten it up a little bit. So that's the update to the bucket system. Now let's take a look at how the VermiBag is doing, which, as I said, I've done a lot more with than just let it sit there and add a couple different little things. So let's go take a look at that. All right, as I said here, this has been treated a little bit differently than the other one. You can see that there's some little fruit flies have been gathering on the top here, but this has been cleaned up a little bit. I removed all the cardboard from the top. Oh yeah, I see a lot of fruit flies coming out of here. They're going to probably come out quite a bit. I do have a bug light that I have, which I recommend for people that do this. I'm going to just take this top bedding and just kind of turn it over real quick. So there is an odor coming out of here, but it's not as bad. This is still warm. So actually, I forgot to do that real quick. Just to give you an idea, 71 over there, 93 in the middle here. So it's still hot composting, which is just amazing to me. And it does make me think that if you were actually doing this composting outside, this would be great. You could heat up your bin if it's freezing cold outside during the winter. You know, here's the corn cobs here. You know, bone. There's nothing left on it. And this is just, it's so warm in here. It's surprising to me. Here's the lobster shell. But there's not a lot of fruit left or anything. Like, all that's gone. Like, I don't know what this is right here. It's some peanuts and something that's kind of hard. But there's not a lot of stuff left in here as far as fruit or veggie matter, except for these corn cobs, it feels like. Like, everything else is just gone. I'm going to just put this over here for a second. I mean, this is really warm material, but there's nothing in it. I mean, it's all just rotting away. You know, in here it's composting. And it's really, really warm. Just to give you an idea here, This little piece here feels really warm. 103 degrees. That's well hotter than you want it in a bin. But I don't know how the worms are doing. And here with this, I'm just going to kind of put this back in there. Oops, put that back in here too. And I'm going to leave this in here longer. I mean, like, it's just, there's nothing I can do with it to really try to fix this right now. So I'm just going to kind of leave this stuff in here and hope that the worms have escaped to the sides here, which is what I'm guessing. Actually, let's just dig up this side a little bit here. I mean, like down on this side, 73 degrees. So that's doable for the worms. So that's what I'm guessing, is that they're moving down to the sides here, trying to get away from things. And they are. Look at this. Look how many worms are in there. See, I count a whole bunch of them in here. I mean, there's got probably 15 to 20 in this little handful. And it feels nice and cool. So they're moving towards the areas that are cool, and they can get away from this hot composting area. So that's what they're doing to save themselves, which is great. So it's working differently than I expected. I did not expect this to hot compost like it is, but it is. So I'm going to throw more bedding here on top. In fact, a lot of bedding here on top. We're going to load this up with bedding. And the reason being is I want to try to get rid of these fruit flies that are everywhere. In here, and make it where they can't get out. That is the purpose of this. They can crawl down in there, they can try to lay stuff, but they hopefully won't be able to get out. And I might even add more during the week and just completely fill this up to the top. That's my update for this week. I hope you enjoyed. If you're curious how I made these, the homemade Bokashi bin, I'm going to post a link up there. And I'll probably post some other links as well. But this is going well so far. A little different than I expected, but it is moving. So I will probably add a little bit more cardboard to the top of this, but I don't have any ready to go right now. And that's my update for this week, for the second week of having this in my VermiBag Max and my bucket that I have on the side. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.